Hello and welcome to JRock's Battle On. I'm your host, Jason JRock Houston, and our guest today is Lyons from Firerock Music Group. Now, it's our mutual friend Tom, the record company president, that set this up today. That's a great place to start. Is how did you get your current record deal? I was curious. Did they approach you? Did you send a pack to the label? How did it come about?
Well, happy holidays to everyone, and
You
thank you
too.
for having me on your show. It was my manager who really connected me with Fire Rock music, and I'm an anomaly for Fire Rock because I'm not a traditional metal kind of guy. I'm a I'm a rock, Latin, uh, jazz, R&B kind of guy altogether, but they liked the sound, and I was fortunate enough for them to say, "Hey, we'd like to try you. We don't have anybody like you," and it's been things have been really progressing with my music since Fire Rock
And
is.
sometimes an anomaly is that's quite a good thing because I know from Tom's perspective, he shared with me that like he's very interested in having artists like you. Like most of the artists are like hard rock and metal, but he goes that's not. He goes I want to get other artists. Like he's got a country artist on there as well. Um,
Yeah.
and then and they're doing quite well. And so Tom's approach is, even though he's, his band held hostage, like hard rock and metal, he's like, as a record label president, my thing is it good music? Can people get into it? Because that's the whole thing. And I will tell you myself, I'm typically a hard rock and metal guy, as you can tell by the background there. But I also listen to everything from, let's be honest, like Sonny and Cher, the Eagles, Tom Petty, the Rolling Stones, and just those bands I mentioned. They've been around all these years. Having their music played on the radio at least 40, 50 years because when you write a hit song or when you write songs that got great hooks, they get played on the radio. People, that's why all these artists I've mentioned, they became the soundtrack to so many people's lives, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think I am who I am
Yeah.
because I listened to so many John. As a kid, I grew up listening to AM radio.
Yeah.
And I didn't have, so you heard a variety of music, and I think that helped me my growth as a musician because I was exposed to R&B on the radio, country, rock, metal, all
Yeah.
of it, and it became intrinsic to my musicality.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. People may laugh at this, but even back in the '70s when I was growing up, I mean, you could go see like a band like Aerosmith and maybe Foghat on the same bill.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
I mean,
I love that.
even just on the final Van Halen tour, they had Kool and the Gang of all people opening up for Van Halen. Yeah.
I think it works. I think people like to see that. I the last in Syracuse. I'm from Syracuse, New York. I grew up on the Onondaga Nation, which is one of the six nations of the Haudenosaunee here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, um, so I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire with um, with Santana.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and and it was one of the best I saw. And then I saw Sting was with
The
it was
Police.
a great, yeah, yes, Sting. I saw he came to Syracuse and he was with, it was another crazy combination, but music is music and good
Yeah.
music is good music. So people love it. I think you're going to see more of that. I think there's a good variety, and I think this generation really appreciates all genres. They know music, they hear it, they're really more exposed to it. They have their ear pods on all the time and they're listening to music. So,
Sure, sure. I listened to some of your older tunes. There's one called "What Are We Fighting For?" And again, that's not typically something I would listen to, but your songwriting's got great storytelling. First of all, Irv, and I love the beat of it. It's kind of it's kind of upbeat. It doesn't come across. It comes across as good time music. I kind of get the message. It's like anybody's arguing with their wife or their spouse. It's like come on, come on, let's just calm down. Let's just, what are we really going at it for, you know?
Thank you. That's one of my most requested songs, and I wrote that. The stories come from generally from my life with my
Yeah.
with my girl, much to her chagrin
Okay.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But 99% of the songs are great. We had a great love story. We're still together, but she definitely is my what do they call it? Muse.
Muse, Muse. Now,
She's my muse, and so she inspires me. I guess people describe my music. One reviewer said Irv Lyons Jr. is uh, Sting meets Santana meets Steely Dan. So
yeah, it's a
I
little bit of
guess that's
everything. It's got some pop, some rock, some more, some R&B even.
and
It's a little,
again
yeah,
and again that comes from all that radio listening. I started listening to music at 4 years old. My mother had a tremendous vinyl collection because that's what all there was back
yeah,
then is
yeah,
vinyl. But everything from Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, the Everly Brothers, Johnny Burnett, Ray Charles. I was Ray Charles was my first hero,
yeah.
and I wanted to sing like him. And I'm left-handed. I play the guitar upside down, which freaks a lot of people out. I've had guitar teachers say, "No, we don't want to teach you." I really had to teach myself how to play guitar because, they guitar teachers said you're never going to be able to play guitar, which made me practice even
Even more.
more.
Yeah. Let me ask
And
you. That's the thing that kind of dates back to Hendrix. Is that where you kind of first saw that? See Hendrix doing that?
yes, yeah, I I played like he does
Yeah.
upside down. I played like that is my style, but who's going to be able to really emulate? He was one of a kind. He was one of the
And
greatest, maybe
yeah.
of all
The
time.
amazing thing about Hendrix is, I mean, a lot of people obviously thought of him as a guitar hero, guitar god, but he was really a triple threat. What I mean by that, great singer, great songwriter, and great guitar player. But obviously, he's thought of more as a guitar player, not so much as a singer. But he kind of was one of those guys that did it all.
Well, I can identify with that in the way that I play with another group here in Syracuse. I've been with them for 20 years. They're called the Rip Chords, and we've won local music awards, and we've won 3 Native American Music Awards, which is international.
Wow.
And I'm the front man for the group, and I'm the songwriter. So I actually play rhythm guitar in the group, and I think people see me more as a rhythm guitarist. But
Okay,
when
interesting. Yeah.
but when they hear my music, they say, "Oh, well, wow, we didn't know." But you do when you're in a group, you're in a team environment, and you and
Sure.
you you do what the team needs, and they need me as the front man, and I play rhythm to my cousin Rex Lyons, who's a great lead guitarist. So
Okay.
it works. We trade off licks, but it works well.
And now let me ask you, Herb, what was the age or point in your life where music really became a part of your life, or you knew that okay, I want to become a musician. This is what I'm going to do with my life.
4 years old. When
Wow.
I heard that music, you know, uh, my mom was a single parent. We lived with my aunt and uncle for a little bit till my mom got on her feet. And my uncle was a musician, and he had people over the house every weekend. He played guitar. He had this really nice harmony,
Oh,
arch top guitar, and I played it, and or I tried to. That's where I got to start. But they had me lip syncing and pantomiming and dancing at all these parties. Hey, Earth, come on out, and
yeah.
and I'd come out, and they put Chubby Checker on, and I'd do the
Wow.
twist as a little 5-year-old, and sing, and they give me nickels and dimes and quarters, which could get you a lot of candy back then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've always wanted to. Uh,
Chubby Checker, you're taking me back, man, before both of our time, But Chubby Checker, what's interesting, if anybody knows his story, he's famous for the twist, but I came to find out the twist was originally recorded and written by somebody else. He just made it famous.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, I I I'm a 20-year Army veteran. I was in the Army for 20 years, so I really didn't pick the guitar much up. I got out of the Army, and my cousin Rex had a band, and he said, Irv, you want to, and I had to really do my homework, and I really had to get up to speed very quickly to to match the talents of
Did you
everyone
take
else.
lessons or would you say you're self-taught?
No, I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if I had YouTube as a kid, man, I would be, things might have been a lot different because,
Um,
right now you have all the information that you need, right?
I mean, there's something to be said, I guess, for being technically precise, but there's also thing about being a self-taught player. People are amazed to learn that Eddie Van Halen, as great as a guitar player as he was, and look at the career and legacy that guy has, but yet he could not read a lick of music. But
Is
so
that
what, you
right?
know?
I did not know that one
Yeah,
either.
yeah, I've heard him talk about it, and I'm like, so what though? I mean, he had me fooled, you know? Yeah,
Well, what an innovator. I mean, what he did changed, every kid is doing the finger tap thing,
yeah.
what an innovator,
Yeah, see, that's the thing. He was an innovator because I didn't realize this so much during his lifetime. Because, like many kids, I would just buy the records, go home, and rock out to them. But later on, I'd read that he'd do all these things to his guitar to get the different sounds, and that's really what he was more into is about doing all this different innovative stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to be a musician, and you have to, I was thinking about, today's Sunday NFL,
Yeah.
and, jock stars and rock stars are very similar, that I'm sure that they all have talent, but to get to the next level, you have to work at it every day.
Well,
And I still do 4 to 5 hours practice
wow.
every day.
And I can tell just talking to you, meaning you say, Irv, I mean, you present yourself like a rock star. You take it serious, and that's why I think you've gotten the kind of attention you do. And with that being said, you have a new record out called Uncovered. So let's talk about first of all, why the decision to do a covers record. I dig it though. You know?
Well, I'm as my last 6 albums have been my original music.
Okay.
And I said, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to cover some iconic tunes that no one probably has the balls enough to do it. But I said, I'll do it. I'm
Yeah.
okay. Let me try it. And my last album, I did two. I did Sarah Smile by Hall and Oates, and I did the Nirvana tune.
I was like
Oh,
Teen Spirit.
yes, and those were two of my highest streamed songs, and I changed them. So they're not, I don't do a cover and play it, you know, like a cover band. I
Yeah.
want to make it my own.
Okay, because
So,
this is the point I want to make because in prepping for interview day, Tom sent me a couple, a link to check out the album, and I got to tell you, I put on Hotel California, which like many people I've heard that tune countless times throughout my lifetime on the radio, and I almost had to give it a second listen. I'm like, wait, this is Hotel California, but if you listen careful enough, it's obviously the lyrics to Hotel. It's I don't know what you did, but you definitely put your stamp on it. It's like a whole brand new creation, and yet it's Hotel California.
how can you try to even redo, Don Felder, Henley, and Glenn
Yeah,
Fry and Joe Walsh? How could you try to play note for note that? No, and I heard it in a much slower, might, almost like a kind of guided meditation kind of song,
yeah.
and so I put my stamp on it, and some people love it, and I'm sure that the hardcore critics, I'm gonna get some hate on it, but
Whatever.
it's not the same. It's not
And
the same.
sometimes that's a good thing. I mean, people like a lot of people a lot of times might want to hear the carbon copy, but for example, the song that really broke the band Tesla years ago was Signs. That's not an original tune, but you know what? Nobody had really remembered that song from the
Mhm.
1970s. It was by this band, the electrical band. And when Tesla
Right?
had their hit, all of a sudden that money starts coming in for the original band. I mean, can you
Remember?
imagine? Yeah, yeah,
And the sun.
yeah, yeah.
No, man, freaking people. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I love that. And then
I
you
know
also
that I met one of the guys from Tesla in Syracuse a couple years ago.
oh okay yeah they're nice guys. I've
He
interviewed
lives in he lives in Skinny Atlas, and we got to I can't remember his name now, but
Frank Hannon,
no,
Jeff
he was a newer one. He's the
the drummer. Okay.
bass player.
Oh, bass
Bass
player
player.
Brian Wade. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I met Brian. Yes, that's him. Yeah, very cool guy.
Yeah, actually, Brian's been with the band the whole time, but yeah, he's a lot
Oh,
older.
was he with the band the whole time? Okay.
Yeah, the only one they made two switches: the drummer and the lead guitarist.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Then they played at the state fair. We actually opened up for them at the state fair, the
I can see
Ripcord
that
thing.
because Tesla is one of those bands that's kind of pigeonholed. They get thought of as like a hair band or hard rock, but if you go into some early stuff, they do almost metal too. They do a little bit of everything, but the song they're really famous for is next to Signs would be Love Song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was really cool. Like when, I never saw it before, but their guitar tech was right on, on the side of the stage. I'm saying, gee, I want to get to that point where I have a guitar tech, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it
And
was
so
fun.
you kind of answered this earlier, but from what you said, I kind of take it that you've always been a singer as well as a guitar player, or did you start out
No,
primarily? Okay.
no, I didn't. I really didn't enjoy singing, but with the ripcords, they liked my voice. My voice is like this R&B kind of scratchy,
Yeah,
kind of like a not Michael McDonald, but in that kind of in that kind of realm. So
did
it's
you always know you had the ability to sing, or did you kind of just discover it, or it just kind of turned out that you had the best voice in
yeah.
the band?
I would I would say the most I don't know. No, I didn't think I had a great voice. People like it, which amazes me. And it just I got better fronting the band for 20 years and learning how to control my voice and what worked best and
Yeah, that's the
you
reason I
know
asked. I can't tell you how many guys tell me, I started out primarily as a guitar player. Other people encourage me, oh, you got a great voice. You should sing. And I imagine when you first started doing it, that transition kind of takes a while to get to the point where you're comfortable in your ability to do it.
yeah, yeah. So it took a while, but now I want to sing. So now I like it. I really enjoy it.
And I think too, there's a certain thing when you're the main songwriter. Maybe you'd be a little more critical if you wrote all the songs but somebody else was singing them. You're like, hey, that's not the way I wrote the song.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's the problem when you're a songwriter and then you deliver a song to someone else. But it could be magic or it
Yeah,
could be not very good either. So it depends.
yeah,
It depends on how people emote it, or it might be in the wrong key. We can fix the key, but
exactly. Yeah.
they might not have the texture, or they're not feeling it.
And I've heard
But
other people tell me they wrote songs for other people and they're like, they did it some a totally different way than the way I wrote the song, but I love, it was a beautiful creation. I love what they did with it.
yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%.
And you were talking about magic. So another great cover you do is a Santana cover, Black Magic Woman. Let's talk about that.
Well, when I was 12 years old, I guess, he's really a huge influence on me. I picked that album up when I was 12 years old, Abraxas, and I wore the grooves out on Black Magic Woman, and my mother and father got sick of it. Turn that off. We're tired of hearing it. But I loved everything about his playing. I loved that he was fluid. I loved that he didn't put 150 notes in one measure. He was lyrical, he was melodic, and he would make that guitar cry. And I loved, the rhythms, the congas, the timbales, all that percussive stuff. And I wanted to play like him. So if you listen to that album, you'll hear probably a strong influence of Carlos
Yeah,
in
and
my
I
music
think,
project.
if you look at the history of music, Carlos Santana is probably the one guy that has infused Latin music in with rock, probably most commercially, most successfully.
Yeah, he sure has, and uh, I love everything about a Latin groove, and like I said, my music is a mix between Latin, pop, R&B, and jazz.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think if people will go on all the platforms, look, search for Irv Lyons Jr. Uncovered, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And I've I think I did a really good job on covering some very, very iconic rock and roll songs. And I'm proud of it. I'm
Yeah.
proud of this work. It took me over a year to do it, but the end result was good.
And then I'm not totally surprised, but like as my guitar gently weeps, of course that's a Beatles tune. And maybe from your perspective, it makes sense. Okay, it's kind of a guitar oriented song, but it's not like the obvious Beatle tune that you'd want to cover. So talk about your choice to do that.
I was hesitant to do it, but I loved it. I loved that song. I loved the solos. You know, you're talking Clapton did a great solo on it. Uh, Prince and Steve Lukather with Toto, they recorded.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I said, I'm not sure if I want to do it. And I did it. And I in the studio, I hit that solo. I think I have an excellent solo. I'm happy about that. The vocal came out great, and it's a little different. You know, it's not the exact same, but it's there. But I think it's uh, that's one of my favorite tracks on the album is
Yeah,
While
now,
My
as much as
Girlfriend.
I'm loving these covers, or another song on the album, which is an interesting cover, but I dig it because, for fact, like you, as you started this interview off, wishing everybody a happy holiday season, which we're just kind of getting past. You did a great cover of George Michael's "Last Christmas." Now, my question before we get into "Last Christmas" is, a lot of artists have been getting into the last several years doing like Christmas themed um, albums. Striper just put out a great one, but would Irv
Wow.
Lyons Jr. ever put out a Christmas album?
I'd love to do that. You know,
Yeah,
I did that song. You know, I heard Last Christmas and I listened to the lyrics and I go, wow, this is not really a happy song, but here it is. Everyone's kind of dancing around. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, and you tore it apart. You know, I'm going, whoa, that doesn't make sense. It's kind of
yeah.
so. I said, I'm gonna. How I feel that song should be is slower and sadder. So I slowed it down. I put it in 3/4 time, and I put
I don't
some.
know if you can get it any slower, but you came close. Now let me ask you a little bit of George Michael trivia here. Um, that guy must have really been could see the future, kind of being prolific because sadly, as great as this song is, I don't know if you realized he died a couple years ago on Christmas Day.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And again,
Wow.
interestingly enough,
I don't want to write a bad song on it.
no,
You
no,
know,
no,
that's
but it's just kind of a little bit trivia there. And another interesting fact is that Mariah Carey's Christmas song it cracks the top of the charts every year. Oddly enough, George Michael's Last Christmas knocked it off this year. So I don't know. You picked like a great song to cover, I guess.
well, this is amazing. One of the first concerts I saw was Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh
And
wow.
so one of the songs that I like that's on the album is If You Want Me to Stay, and that's by Sly and the Family Stone. And I was in the studio. I finished that tune. It's true. Uh, The next day, uh, Sly died.
Yeah,
And I go, what is going on here? I'm going to put his song on my album. He dies the next day.
it died so
That's crazy.
tragically. He was homeless and stuff at the time. Drugs really messed up his life, like a lot of people. But I mean, Slide the Family Stone a little before my time, but I got to tell you, go back and check out what they did. I mean, probably one of my favorite songs they ever did, Everyday People. They just got a whole slew of hits, though.
They had Larry Graham as their bass player, man, and
Yeah,
he was just a groove master, man. It was a tremendous band.
yeah. And, even you talk a little bit about Hendrix today. Um, I loved Hendrix too, because kind of like what you're saying you do. I mean, there's a guy, he played the guitar with his teeth. He played it backwards, upside down. And then even if you've ever seen his performance at Woodstock of the Star Spangled Banner, I mean, once he did that, people started listening to that song
Oh yeah.
in a way like they never had before.
and his DNA has native. He's Cherokee. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a brother.
And now on covered, we also have, I think, is it one or two new original tunes on there?
I have two tunes: "Rescue You"
Okay,
and "I Want to Be with You." So
I listen. I want to
I,
be with you. That's pretty cool. So what's that song about? Just a girl or
that's about my woman again.
okay?
That was
Yeah.
the first song I ever wrote for her.
Now
So,
let me ask you because it goes both ways. I know now when you have somebody a muse, a love that you kind of write about all the time. Um, does she necessarily know the songs are about her? Does she get like
hell yeah, they know everything. Come on.
yeah like hey yeah yeah
She's the female part on Last Christmas.
oh okay oh wow okay
She's the one who's singing the female part. Her daughter, Livy, is singing Wonderwall. Now, I don't know if you heard. Did you listen to Wonderwall? Her daughter's very
I
talented.
have to go back and listen to that. No, I don't remember. Yeah.
Let's take a listen to Wonderwall.
Okay. Okay.
The Oasis tune. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, Oasis. Now that's another one I wouldn't expect you to cover, but that's cool because who knows? Some people listening to your Undercovers album, maybe hearing these songs for the first time, and then I urge what I would love to do myself is go back and check out the original tune where it came from.
That would be great. You'd be
Yeah,
some, yeah, and you'll see that I just kind of I just turned away from just doing the exact cover. I didn't want to do that.
okay, cool.
You're gonna hear what I'm all about. You're gonna hear
And
what
a great example of that is another band that's done a lot of great covers over the years. They got their great kick-ass own original music as well. Is the band Foghat. Now, um, their album "Fool for a City" just turned 50 years old, and I got to interview a singer. It's not the original singer, but he talked about the fact that what it's like to get up there and play these Foghat songs and be part of that and part of celebrating the 50 years. And they on that album "Fool for a City," they got this. It's kind of it wasn't a big hit, but it's called this Terraplane Blues. And I thought it was a Foghat original. Come to find out, it was a Robert Johnson song from 1937. Now, the Robert Johnson version was a lot more bluesy. Foghat kind of really rocked up what they did. But like you said, they put their stamp all over it, and it's thought of as a Foghat song. Now, I wanted to bring that up because I know that you've covered a Robert Johnson song. So talk about the influence he's had on your playing.
oh yeah, Sweet Home Chicago. Now it's a great song. I really twisted that one, and you'll really hear the Steely Dan influence on that one. I got major sevenths in there, which is contrary to the one kind of the 1 4 5 chords that. And I'm talking musicians. I shouldn't. I
Oh,
want
go
everyone
ahead,
to
go ahead.
understand.
Yeah, you're in your wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, I put some chords. I put some jazz chords in that song, and which makes it kind of Steely Danish. I got a young kid named Luke Hart on the saxophone, and he played some rhythm guitar on it. This kid's a phenom, and you know, I don't know what Robert Johnson would say about that one, but he might think it's cool, man. We did a really cool spin on that one.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, even the Foghat cover of Teleplane Blues. I don't know if you ever heard that song, but Robert Johnson's is like it was like the biggest hit of his career. I was reading. Um, Foghat didn't really have a hit; they didn't really chart with it, which is interesting. His is a lot more bluesier. It's kind of a totally different song if you listen to the two versions. But that's kind of what I dig about it. And even though I dig the Foghat version better, that's probably just because that's the first one I heard. But I have an appreciation for Robert Johnson now because of that. I'm like, wow, he's a great blues guy, but this is what the blues was back then.
Well, it's hard to really see. This brings me to the point, man. I wanted to put on this album a collection of all genres. Of course, we had the Sly Stone, which is a little R&B,
I think,
funk,
yeah,
and we got the rock and roll songs. We got the blues with with Robert Johnson, and we have pop with the Last Christmas, and then we have a little alternative with Wonderwall. So I tried to cover everything. We have awards. Syracuse Area Music Awards, and you send your music in, and they judge you on categories. And I'll never get nominated because they can't figure out
what
what
you
the hell
are.
my
Yeah,
music is.
yeah,
But that's the point.
yeah.
I'm other.
I
Yeah.
think Irv, you should really strongly think maybe for next year doing a Christmas covers album. I think you're the guy that could do it. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
just tell you
man,
a funny.
I'm gonna start thinking about that right now.
I mean, I'll tell you a funny story because I did a little Christmas special show on my channel for the people, and I was talking about the song "Joy to the World." Come to find out, that song was originally written by this guy that was a hymn writer because he wanted to bring people together in church. And it started. It wasn't even a Christmas song. Now, the fun part of the story is "Joy to the World," a song we've all heard and we celebrate it every Christmas. You're gonna laugh when I tell you this. It's over 300 years old.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's a fun little fact. Now, last question, Irv. Um, with 2026 right, just a couple of days away. What are your plans for New Year's? Plan to do any live shows? Is there gonna be a new album?
Oh, my manager, I think we need to push this album. I think I'm gonna put the brakes on. You never stop creating. I will write some songs and then probably at the end of the year, maybe around October, I'll put a band together. We'll go in the studio for about 8 hours and knock out an album. But I would like to, if my manager has his way, he wants to get me on the road and start performing.
I'll tell
Uh,
you. I'll tell you what. Or when you start doing those shows, let me know. We'll have you come back so people will know about it. Okay.
Love to.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
It's great. It's great getting to know you, brother. And this will be going up next Tuesday. I'll let you know the minute it goes up. Okay.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.